Hare Krishna, everyone. Um, just give me a 1 minute. I am going live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at the same time for today's Women's Sangha group. We do this every Saturday at 8:30 British Standard Time and I guess 2 p.m. in India. Today's topic is going to be about equality and gender neutrality. Since this is still International Women's Month, we thought we'd continue with topics that are relevant to us. Sorry, I've just misplaced one of these. Let's see. So sorry. This is my first time trying to figure out the live on Instagram at the same time. It's interesting. StreamYard has just added that option, so it's still a work in progress. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well. This session will go for about 1 hour, and maybe 40 minutes I'll speak, and then the last 20 minutes we can take some questions if you have any. So I'll start with our prayers and then get right into it. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So right now it's definitely a huge, topic everywhere. I don't know how much it's affecting each one individually, but especially in the UK where I live, equality is something that everyone is striving towards. Last year the buzzword was gender neutrality. All the schools in England were supposed to become gender neutral in an effort to encourage women to do and be whoever they want to be. And we're just trying to figure our way out. Is it really going to work for us? There's a lot in the news about the mother load, the amount of pressure that women are feeling, especially mothers. Women are twice as likely to be experiencing depression, anxiety. So is it going to work out if we constantly are feeling the pressure of being able to be anything and do anything? And also a lot of the pressure sometimes mounts when we continuously hear that we can do it all. We can have the career, we can have the kids, we can have the relationships, and we can have me time, and we can be mentally, wholesome and full and happy. That is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of things that we have to be and do at the same time. And specifically for women, is it going to actually manifest the way we hope it will? So I'm going to really try to just maybe cover portions of this. It's such a vast topic. We could be talking about it for days and months on end and still not fully be able to cover the spectrum. But today I wanted to focus on equality in terms of the spiritual, notion of equality and how that doesn't always translate to our day-to-day lives, and why. Can we realistically expect that equality to translate in our day-to-day experience? Are we all actually equal? That's the big question, isn't it? Are we all equal? Let's take a moment to think about it. When we teach our children how to treat everybody with respect, treat everybody equally, is that really something that you can do in practice? So in our spiritual, understanding in the scriptures, it's very clearly stated that obviously we should treat everybody with respect. We should treat everyone equally. Pandita Samadarshinaha. That's one of the main shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is telling Arjuna that one who is Vidya Vinaya Sampanni, one who is full of knowledge, that person becomes really humble, laden with the burden of knowledge as such. Vidya Vinaya Sampanni, and he sees the elephant and the cow and the brahmana and the dog as being equal, and even the dog eater. How does he envision everyone as being equal? How can the dog and the brahmana be equal? How can the dog and the dog eater be equal? There's only one sense of equality there, and that's the spiritual equality. Because that Pandita is seeing, that knowledgeable person, Pandita, is seeing that the supreme person, the Paramatma, is residing in everyone's heart. And the soul within each living entity is equal. Whether you're a dog or a human, or regardless of our actions or our bodily prowess or limitations, we are spiritually all on an equal platform. So this is really amazingly helpful. It's an amazing tool when we want to interact with the world. How should we treat each other? It's kind of like something, it's like a hat you put on, that vision of everyone is, spirit, soul. Look beyond the bodily limitations. Do not notice that they're man or woman or black or white or, animal or bird or beast. Don't notice the externals. Focus on the internals. That really helps us in going beyond the differences and recognizing the spiritual essence so that we can love and respect everybody. So that is hugely important. And it really helps with this universality, oneness, brotherhood, sisterhood, the idea that, we're one big family. That's fantastic. That external vision should be there. External meaning we view our external world with that spiritual vision. But when it comes to translating it for ourselves in our day-to-day lives, that is not the actual instruction of the Bhagavad Gita. That is not what Krishna tells Arjuna, that we are all equal, so, we all just do the same exact thing. No, he says very clearly to Arjuna that you should know yourself. You should know your dharma, and therefore instruct yourself on what to do. Your karma, what you do daily, will be affected by understanding your dharma. And how can you understand your dharma? It's understanding your unique bodily features and your unique position in this spiritual, with the spiritual understanding, but in the material world. So the whole Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna to do his Kshatriya dharma. Not to just think, well, we're all equal, I can't kill that person, or I... No, because when we go out in the real world, I am still very much limited by my bodily, limitations as such. I am a woman, I am a mother, I am so and so and so forth. These things are very much a reality that I have to experience. And if I negate them or somehow pretend that those are not there and that we can all do exactly the same thing at the same level, I will be shooting myself in the foot. Why do I say that? There's so many examples of people around me that are really struggling with the notion that we can do it all, because there's just so much pressure to do it all. Again and again, I've come back to this because I think we're forgetting that in the hope of empowering everybody with this equality, we are kind of negating our individual uniqueness as women. So my question to all of us is to actually really think about it. How are we equal? How are we equal? When I discussed this with my kids, my children, I asked them the same question. One of my sons is super tall. He's like here. And the other ones are not so big. And you can just see it when they're playing football, The littler one gets super annoyed. He's frustrated. Why can't he score as many as the older one? And the older one kind of has to play at her easier level so that the younger one doesn't feel so left out. So if we kind of enter the working world, if we enter our karma kshetra, if we enter our duties and responsibilities with the idea that we are all equal, actually we as women will be the ones who miss out. Because just like my son, who's shorter, skinnier, and smaller, he feels really emotionally burdened when he has to deal with the really tall guy. It sounds so basic and almost like, well, what are you talking about, Kishori? Of course, we're not all the same height and we're not all the same weight. But women and men have biological differences no matter who you are. Of course, there are some women who, are probably taller than some men, obviously. But in general, if you're looking at the bell curve, most of us with comparable, height and weight, the woman will still have smaller, but muscle mass or bone density or emotional responses. We most certainly have our own makeup, a feminine, womanly makeup. And we may think, well, that shouldn't affect us. That shouldn't affect us at all. If I go to a job, I'm not a woman. I should not be seen as a woman. But to think that our hormones do not affect us, that our bodily makeup doesn't affect us, that's actually a supreme fallacy. It's actually it's a bit of a, we're not doing ourselves any favors if we go with that mindset. If we go with, no, I can do anything. I can push myself to do anything. We probably could. But at what cost? At what cost? And it seems to me that a lot of the times we're not even aware of the cost. We're not aware that it can actually, severely affect our mental health, our anxiety, and feeling the pressure of doing it all. So I have a few questions for you guys. Could you share your experiences? I know, as I have a daughter, I have sons, and what would I do? How would I train them so that my daughter doesn't feel like she's held back, but at the same time, how would I explain to her that we should embrace our feminine natures and bodies so that we are not sold this kind of expectation that the male and female bodies are the same, their psyches are the same, and therefore our abilities to do everything is the same. The Vedic perspective was very much in tune with this, recognizing that the body of a female is different. It's therefore, the sanctity, the sacredness of it, of being able to bring life into this world, the kind of direct effects of hormones on our literally day-to-day activities. We were honored and revered for that. We were not made to feel like I have to somehow overcome my monthly cycle. I don't have to overcome that so that I can become this kind of productive, element that fits into this capitalist agenda of everybody being able to output a certain amount of energy. And therefore, that's what will make us equal. How much we can produce, how much we can achieve and obtain. If I have to compete with my male counterpart in being able to produce the same amount of product in a capitalist world, whether I like to admit it or not, I am at a disadvantage. I will miss out because I will, feel the effect of my hormones every month. I'm the only one who's going to get pregnant. I'm the only one who has to deal with postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, and all of the wonderful, wonderful things that come with womanhood. Me and my male counterpart are not equal in the production, output, ability, capability. We're not. I could catch up. I could adjust my life so that I can catch up. Of course, if I really wanted to, I could outpace him. I could just run faster. I could eat differently. I could change my mindset and really manipulate my surroundings so that I can outdo my male counterparts. But at what cost? And why should I feel like I have to overcome my biological makeup? Why should I feel that extra pressure? If we are constantly in this realm of competing with the other gender, if we're constantly having to think, well, okay, I can be just as strong, I can be just as non-emotional. I am constantly trying to catch up, constantly trying to apologize for being emotional. I'm constantly trying to adjust. I'm uncomfortable in my own feminine makeup and my own feminine skin. And so the Vedic structure around it was that, no, you don't need to do all that. You can be completely feminine. You don't have to be burdened by both roles. Because now most women have to work, not only have children, come home and do all the other stuff, be very emotionally available, but not emotional. We have to, it's just so mind-boggling and mind-numbing how many different roles and positions we have to fit in without being, we're not allowed to be vulnerable. It's not a good thing to say women are vulnerable. It's not a very, very empowering thing to say that we're emotional. We're not allowed to be those things which literally are dictated by our hormones. Literally, the dictates of estrogen spiking every month is those things, but we're not. We shouldn't be that, because we also have to be aggressive and assertive and contradictory, and we have to be all these things that we have to be everything. It's I just read a statistic that how many hundreds of thousands of people are not able to cope with just their workload, just how much mental baggage they're experiencing, and it's really affecting their mental well-being. And I'm thinking, how many of those are going to be women? It's hard enough for men who don't have to deal with all of the other extra beauty. How many of them would be women who just can't cope with it all? I know personally, anyway, I don't even want to get into how many people come up to me and express just the overwhelming sensation of not being able to cope with all the hats that we have to wear. So my point is to come out of the story that we're sold, the narrative, and to assess it. What does the Shastra say? The Shastra says that the woman should be protected. She shouldn't have the burden of both creating life, looking after children, having children, looking after them, and for always providing for them, or feeling every role. You don't have to also do that. She was supposed to be protected. She's considered the grihani. She could be very comfortable in her home, looking after the women and children. The children and family, while the men went and looked after the other jobs. Now, obviously, we're not saying that you can't do that, but the flip side is very much real, that it is almost impossible to be a successful career woman and have children and have your mental well-being in harmony. It is impossible. So to constantly sell that narrative that everybody should be able to do it, you can do it. I think a discussion should be had around that regularly. We should have that discussion with our friends, with our daughters, that you're not expected to do it all. That it's okay It's okay to just be a woman. It's okay to either just have your children or just have a career. You don't have to do it all. And then maybe we'll come to appreciate the Vedic paradigm and not see it as this oppressive, how dare you say women need protection? How dare, so many times if you share that notion that women should be protected, women are more emotional than men, and therefore they're more vulnerable, and therefore sometimes they can't be trusted. In an emotional state, we say all kinds of stuff. But if you say those things, how dare you? So we're constantly trying to cover up our femininity, cover up our emotional, hormonal burdens. And the output, the kind of the mess that it's creating, I don't want any part of it. I feel a real sense of aversion now when people say that you can do it all. I'm like, I have no desire to do it all. I just want to be. I want to be happy with my kids. I want to be happy at home. And when someone tells me, oh, I'm thinking about quitting my job because they can, I'm like, yes. More power to women who want to say, I can't do everything. If you've got kids and you're feeling overwhelmed and you can't do the career path as well, just quit. If you can afford to quit, please don't feel any shame in just quitting. I quit 8 months ago, and it's the best thing I did. Krishna's mercy, I don't have to work. My husband looks after me and he protects me. And so now I really question. I question every time I hear this notion, gender neutral. Every space should be gender neutral, because it really confuses people as to now what am I supposed to do? Okay, if everything is equal, which we're not, we are not equal. The way we look at the world, the way we experience the world is not equal. But when we keep hearing that notion, everyone's equal, there's no gender differences, the only person who's really going to feel the pressure is someone who's slightly at a disadvantage in terms of production, in terms of achievement. So we will be feeling the brunt of that. And I can see it. It's no like mystery why women are feeling so much pressure every day, and it's unbearable. So coming back to the point of dharma, Krishna elaborates again and again in the Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna, you should know yourself. You should know if you're a Kshatriya, you have a specific role. You don't have to do everybody's role. Therefore, he's telling everyone, Chaturvarnya Maya Shrishtam. Why? Krishna is saying, I have made the 4 Varnas and the 4 ashramas. And also men and women. You are in a particular body, in a particular state of mind because of our gunas and our previous karmas. Our gunas dictate how we react to the world, how we understand the world. And it's all unique. That we are not all the same. That literally is Krishna saying, you are not all the same. So understand yourself. Understand your psychophysical makeup. Understand that you are unique and find the unique empowerment in your unique situation, in your unique guna and karma makeup. Because if we don't, not only will we completely confused as to what we're supposed to do. Krishna says in 2 places, the only verse which is practically, 2 times, 2 verses are repeated almost verbatim in the Bhagavad Gita. One is obviously Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, where Krishna says, surrender to me, become my devotee, think of me. He tells you to become his devotee twice. That's one verse that's repeated. And the other verse that's repeated is about your dharma. Shreyan sva... okay, I'm just going to read it. Shreyan svadharma vigunaha paradharmat svanushthitat svabhava niyatam karma kurvan napnoti kilvisham. So this is in the 18th chapter, and he repeats the same one in the 3rd chapter, 337, I think. Almost verbatim, at least the first 2 lines. So he's saying that it is much better to do your own duty than to do somebody else's duty. It is. So let's try to understand that as women versus men. There is a difference And the more we try to artificially say that there's no difference, we will be the only person losing out. We'll have to do not only our dharma, but also somebody else's dharma. If you want to do that, be my guest. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do 5, 6, 7 people's dharma. I just want to give birth to my children, look after them, and that's all the mental capacity I have. I'm telling you, for having children, it takes up every ounce of your being. If you want to do it half decently, half come out half sane, it takes up all of your energy, all of your mental capacity. And Krishna says, if you do not do your dharma, but you try to do somebody else's dharma, you know what will happen? He says you will feel fear, bhayavaha. It is fearful. It's fear-inducing. And that's exactly what depression and anxiety is. We're having to do male and female roles because we are gender-neutral society. We do not differentiate in terms of gender. All that's really saying is that we have to now do everything. Really. Let's think about what it actually means when we say that. So today's session, I just wanted to express that to you, that let's not be enamored by the external facade of equality and gender neutrality. It sounds good because, like I said right at the beginning, on a spiritual level, it is true. We are all equal and we all deserve equal respect, equal opportunity. No one can tell a woman that she cannot work or that she has to have children. That is her only dharma. You can't say that, because at no point does Krishna suggest that dharma is a forced upon thing. Yes, if you don't do your dharma, you will incur sin. But nobody can force you to do your dharma. Not even Krishna himself. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, well, I have now given you what I think. I've made the suggestion. Now you follow what you think, Arjuna. You do as you please. So is there any question of force in dharma, in Sanatana Dharma? So if a man is telling a woman what she must do, then it's kind of going against the whole point of it. But as a woman, what we can try to do is understand ourselves. Understand, well, actually, is it serving me if I consider myself equal to my male counterpart and constantly compete with them? Is it going to help me? Dharma is about understanding that which will sustain us. Dhre, the root of dharma, dhre, to sustain. Dharayati, the dharma. That which can hold us and sustain us. Can it sustain me if I continue to do everybody's dharma around me? I have to earn the bread. I have to make money. I have to cook. I have to give birth to a child. My husband can't be equal partner in that. He can't give birth. As much as I wish he could share that load, he cannot. Therefore, I'm very happy to allow him to look after me. You go do the hard work outside. I'll do the hard work inside the house. And I tell you, it has changed my perspective. Growing up, I was quite a feminist. I was like, I don't need a man. I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to be self-sufficient. I don't need anybody telling me what to do. I don't want to be dependent on anybody. I want to be fully independent. That just means I have to do it all. And I realized after 8 years in LA, San Francisco, women were not happy. Most of the women in the West are borderline depressed. This is an absolute reality that we don't actually address. We're all experiencing some level of anxiety or depression that we don't confront, and we don't want to see that comes from having to do it all. The price of external independence, the price of external self-sufficiency is this pressure and fear of having to do it all. Krishna's saying, so do your dharma. Maybe give up some external freedoms for the spiritual inner freedom. If you do your dharma, you will be completely peaceful You will have supreme independence of thought and emotion, really, because you'll be satisfied. Dharma protects you. When you do your one role, then Dharma comes in and protects you. My husband is very happy to look after me. We're loyal and chaste to each other. So he does one role and I do the other. He doesn't have to, anyway, we already banged that on enough. I just hope I'm able to express this with a sense of clarity, because it has changed my life from, having so-called external independence. I've become completely dependent on my husband. But I experience a level of such immense independence because of it, spiritually. I don't feel the pressures of anxiety and fear, because we're there for each other. We need each other. But if we promote gender neutrality, if we erase the differences artificially just from an external level, we will be shooting ourselves in the foot. And it's not healthy for girls to be told that you can do everything, you can be anything, because it actually, we don't realize it, but on a very subtle level, we're putting so much pressure on them. They should be good at football, they should be good at video gaming. They may, those are not just masculine things. We need to do it all. And of course, some people are better than others. So what do girls do on social media? They go and compare themselves. That's the one very feminine, beautiful attribute that women only have, is comparing ourselves. Of course, men do it too. But women, man, we just love to compare ourselves to others and become depressed when we cannot live up to everyone's expectations. Why? Because it's a very feminine quality to want to please others. It is. To want to please your children and to make sure everyone's happy. That's a nurturing, motherly quality. Make sure everyone is doing well. In its original spiritual nature, that's a beautiful quality. But if perverted, you don't lose that innate instinct, but when it becomes perverted, you're looking for everyone's validation on social media, all your peers at school, and that's the perverted material exhibition of that intrinsic nature, to want to make others happy, to want to be liked by your family. I want to be liked by my children. I want them to validate my emotions, and they do. Why? Because I have to be in tune with their needs. I have to make sure, is everybody happy? Is everyone fed? I have to literally cook 3 different things every day so that everyone has something that they like to eat. This is a natural feminine quality, to care for others, to be in tune with their needs. But when you pervert that and it gets distorted to a level of it gets supremely distorted, and then we worry about what other people think, and then it's just an absolute epidemic on how women, girls, especially girls in this generation, how their mental health is at such risk. They're in such dangerous waters. They have so little sense of self-worth, steeped in anxiety and insecurity. It makes me cry. It's a real issue that mothers of teenage girls will talk to any parent with teenage girls. They'll tell you just how disturbed this generation of girls are. It is not a coincidence that the most free, gender-neutral, egalitarian societies in the West are having to contend with girls who are coming into this neutral society and feeling the least amount of self-worth, feeling so insecure that they would rather commit suicide than live it. I don't know where the pressure is coming from. We don't know. You know where it's coming from? From not knowing your dharma, not knowing what to do, not knowing who you are, and nobody being able to tell you that. Because why? It's not a good thing to say that. We should never tell our girls who they are or what they should do, because God forbid, you limit them. You limit their dreams and possibilities. We should let them do it all. That pressure of doing it all, I want no part of it. I'm not going to do it all. And anyone who comes up to me and says, I want to do it all, I'm like, okay, good luck to you. But if you want some help in how not to do it all, come to me. I will help you figure out just how if we limit our activities to our dharma, we will actually feel unlimited satisfaction and joy. So before I keep going on and on, I'm going to leave it there. If anybody has some questions, I can take some questions. I hope I was able to. This is a very, very emotional topic for me because it's hard to express it in words because it's contradictory. It's, I consider myself a progressive person. I don't want to upset anybody who's in any, more power to anyone who wants to do anything. We're not here to judge. The only thing that is, it only becomes an issue when we're trying to figure out, what the heck am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? So coming back to the main point, what I started with, externally, when we view the world, we are supposed to view everyone with equality. That is the lesson from the Bhagavad Gita. That is the lesson from our scriptures. We should view everyone equally. So man should never say, well, women is less intelligent. Women should be only at home. Women should not be working. Any man who says that is not doing his dharma, which is to see the world equally. They should see everyone without gender if they're truly pandita. It is for the woman herself to understand, what is my dharma? Just like it was Arjuna's own decision to understand, I am a Kshatriya, so I must fight. So these are two sides of the same coin. Yes, we are spiritually equal. We are, Sat Chit Ananda, sparks of spiritual energy. And in that sense, we're all equal. But in these bodies, in our day-to-day interactions, what is my goal? What is my purpose in this life? Then we have to contend with the minute differences. We're going to have to learn how to embrace specifically how different I am. What is my unique role as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, as a person of independent faculties of the mind, as an intelligent woman? What is my dharma? So two opposing ideas, even though they sound the same, they have very unique, different expression. We offer respect to everybody as if they're equal, but in my own life, I fine-tune, I hone in on how different I am, because that is where the empowerment comes from. If I just consider, oh, no, there's no difference between me and my male counterpart, I will be the one who will miss out. And so that's not empowering for me. That kind of superficial oneness from the outside, from the inside, doesn't translate to the outside, and therefore it's almost like a Mayavad philosophy, saying that everyone is one. If we negate our external differences, if we do not contend with actually, I am a woman, then I won't know how to act. I won't know my dharma, and I won't know what karma should follow my dharma. Dharma and karma are very finely linked, which is why Krishna says if you don't follow that dharma, you will incur sin. It means your karma will not be in harmony with your dharma. And when our karma and dharma is not in harmony, then how can dharma protect us? Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. One who does dharma feels the protection. One who follows one whose karma is in line with their dharma, they feel the protection of it. So I'm going to read through some of these comments. Okay. I have a question, please. Yes, Indra Gopi Mataji, please do state the question if you have it. that you wanted to. My daughter wants to play sports. I don't want her to because she's not safe. Teachers at school look after them when they're on field. You're saying the teachers at school to look after them properly on it. Maybe you're saying the teachers don't look after them at school. If your daughter wants to play sports. So I'm just going to say what I would say if my daughter came up to me and she wanted to play sports. I would most definitely encourage it until a certain point in life where the risk and the reward will come to head on its own. We have in Raman, my oldest son's team, there's a girl. Her name is Priyanshi. She's actually one of the best players in their whole team, and she's the only girl. So to say that girls cannot be good at sports, that's not what I'm saying at all. I hope you understand that I'm not saying girls should not play sports. In fact, I encourage girls to play sports because the number one killer in the modern world is sedentary lifestyle. This is a reality. We live in a world of just screens, monitors, and we just sit around most of the day. So sports, exercise is becoming such an essential part of our life. It's going to become so important that we learn how to move. So girls should be encouraged to do sports. Absolutely. We don't want to create, just such fragile girls who don't know how to move around. No. See, the thing is, we assume that in the Vedic culture, women were restricted from doing all this. How did Kaikeyi become such a powerful, charioteer and a warrior? How did she become such a powerful warrior if she was not allowed to do sports, if she was never allowed to do anything? No. You see these examples, even in the last Sangha group that we did, we saw how Mother Parvati, she didn't just meekly accept her husband's words or her father's words. She stood up, was powerful, voiced her opinion, in front of the whole assembly, and then lit herself on fire. Does she look like a woman? Does she sound like a woman who she's just very timid and shy and doesn't have opinions? And, this idea that a woman should be should be seen and not heard. This is complete BS. That is not from our scriptures, clearly. Sati Devi didn't just sit around and not say anything. Even Mother Sita, she has so many opinions if you read the Ramayana. Lord Rama was trying to tell her that you shouldn't come. It's a dangerous place. Please, you stay home. He actually requested, don't come. Did she listen to him? Does she sound like someone who just is told what to do and doesn't have her own opinions? No, she said, and it was out of love. She said, if you leave, I will be as good as dead anyway. So what is the point of, okay, the forest is dangerous. I may get hurt or die in the forest. But if you leave without me, my dear Lord, I will be dead before you leave the gates. That's how much love she had for him. So it wasn't out of a spirit of fighting. It was because they had so much love for each other. Same with Sati and Lord Shiva. It's not that she disagreed with him because she is just egotistical. She blasts her father in front of all the devas and rishis and everybody because she respects and loves her husband. That is where the power, this pativratya power, the power in Sanatana Dharma, a woman gets her power from chastity, from loving her husband and serving each other, both of them. That's where our power comes from, the spiritual, the tejas in a woman. So what was my point? My point is, Sanatana Dharma does not dictate that a woman should have no opinions. She should just be quiet and just submissively listen to her husband all the time. Maybe it would be nice if we did that sometimes, or most of the time. But it is not a requirement to be considered doing your dharma. You can have opinions, you can state them if they are in line with dharma. if they are in line with Dharma. You have every right to stand up for Dharma. So my point was that we shouldn't regard our roles as very limited. We just cook all day, we just clean all day, we just have children. Aisa nahi hai. Never. That's not Sanatan Dharma. That is some kind of colonial or invasion theories in our culture in India. It's been brought upon us from other lands. If you actually read the life of the Devis, of the mothers in our sacred scriptures, you realize just how learned, just how empowered, just how powerful they were. And you realize, I've never been excluded. I have never, Sanatan Dharma, growing up with this philosophy, never once did I feel that I don't have a place to do that. I never thought, I can't be a doctor, or I can't be prime minister. You can do whatever you want. You can lead the country if you want as a woman. Aisa nahi hai कि नहीं कर सकते. Look at Draupadi. She was the treasurer of the entire kingdom. Sita, why did the Swayamvar dictate that Ram had to pick up the barn? Why did it dictate that somebody had to do that? Because that's how powerful she was. She could lift that Shiv Dhanush when she was like 5-6 years old. Now, I'm not saying we are all Sita and comparable, but there are women who have powers probably greater than men. Many women will have actual physical ability that might be greater than other men around them. This is a reality. So why should the point of this is not to actually, I wanted to come back to this amazing point that in Sanatan Dharma, it has never been the case that women were considered less than men. Never. In fact, the woman was always given more respect. She was always considered something to be protected because she's sacred. Mata is the highest honor we can get. The Devi, she is literally Shakti, literally power. Shakti means power. So there is no question of disrespect or inequality between male and female in Sanatan Dharma. There's just no question of it. So actually, when we come to this Western imposed equality, we are settling for less. It's almost like women were here and men were here, and now we have to come down and do a lot more because of gender neutrality. We're actually being sold something that is less than what we already innately have. The idea that men should protect women, it's because women are, it's that Shakti. A dharmic woman is literally can cause the entire home to become Vaikuntha. It is almost like a superpower, and it should be protected. It should be nurtured, respected. That is the power of Dharma. That is the power of your spiritual Adhyatmic Teja. If we are chaste, if we are loyal, if we honor the truth, if we study the scriptures and become in tune with what is Sat, what is the absolute knowledge, what is the reality of, this kind of Brahminical standard, Brahminical realization. If we live a Brahminical lifestyle, we're talking about Sattva, we're talking about understanding the supreme Brahman, then that lady, how is she any less than a man? She's not. She should be honored, revered. So why settle for a Western notion of equality when in our Sanatan Dharma, we are already above and beyond. We are already, our heritage, our inheritance is that of sacredness. We're actually missing out if we give all that up for like a Western idea of, I can apply for any job I like, or we already had that. I can get educated with whatever I want. We already had that. The idea that women don't get educated, that is a last 500 years makeup from the invasions. That is an invaded idea for women. this whole hiding the face thing, that is not Hindu culture. That is not. So this is only because of protecting ourselves from the other cultures that we've had to, you know, take up so many unnatural states for the woman. So let's become more in tune. Let's study the Shastras. Let's understand what it actually means to be empowered spiritually, to be able to see everyone equally, not have envy in our heart, not be constantly competing with not just each other, but with our male counterparts as well, as if it's not enough that we have to compete with each other and then add to that everybody else. No. Let's look for other dharmic partners who understand that, okay, you know what? Maybe we'll have to live with a little bit less. But if the man is willing to provide and protect the family, then the woman can be willing to create a beautiful home, be vulnerable, be protected. It's not such a bad idea. I'll tell you, it's not so bad. I love it. I'll tell you, it works out well. Okay, I don't see any other specific questions, so I'm going to end it here. Oh, do I? Okay, one second. Everybody is trying to love God, but not succeeding. What is the reason? How I need to succeed? Please tell me in your words. Success in spirituality. Yeah, everybody's trying to love God. That's I wouldn't say everybody, unfortunately. Why do we not succeed? I think because loving God is quite a privilege. You really have to really want it. You know, we could say we are wanting to love God, but you know, in our actions, in our thoughts, we are saying something else. So the thing is, Krishna is in our heart. He knows. God is already there. I was just listening to a lecture, and it's the prayers of Gajendra. And this, I don't remember the verse, but it's such a beautiful verse where he says, I don't remember the Sanskrit, but in English it means Krishna is very, very far. Paramatma, the super soul, is very far for those who have not conquered the mind and senses. For those of us who have not overcome our desires, Krishna is very far, even though he's right in our heart. But for those who have given up worldly desire, who have conquered our racing mind, who have conquered our senses, we're not running here, running there. Actually, the main point was we are not attached to relations. You know, my husband, my children, my house, my. That's the ego has. It's because, you know, we say we want God, but we have so many attachments, worldly attachments, and our desires are so unlimited still that it's going to take a little while before we can relieve ourselves from the attachments to my son, my husband, my career, my intelligence, my beauty, blah, whatever it is, whatever we are identifying with. I would like to eat this amazing food. I want to go visit this place. I want to achieve this. I wish this person would look at me this way, or, you know, grant me this position. There's so many things that are taking up our energy. So we cannot actually connect with, or we can't see Krishna sitting in our heart. So he's so close to those who have detached themselves. It's a work in progress. The fact that you think that everybody's trying to love God is a great step forward. Yes, Maripalli ji. So it's a good mindset. You think that everybody's trying to love God. That's wonderful, because many people might say that most people are not trying to love God. They are trying to love themselves. So maybe, but how can you succeed? It's usually trying to find good association, you know, in your day-to-day. Surround yourself with the ones who are actually trying to love God, or who have achieved a little bit of progress on their path. who are following Dharma, who are able to understand the path to Krishna. Read. Are you able to read regularly? Because that's associating with pure devotees. That's associating with Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. That will help us to actually cleanse ourselves from all the attachments, the illusion, the anger, the... Okay. I think that's it. Okay. No more questions. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. We'll be back next week. If you have any questions, you can post them and we'll try to address it next week. Hare Krishna.